Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel with your host Young, and we are here with the absolutely brilliant Time Stand Still. So, welcome, guys.
Thank you.
very much.
So, guys, could you introduce yourselves and what you do within the band?
My name's Liam. I am the vocalist of the band. It keeps me busy, and these guys keep me on my toes.
And I'm Stoby, and I'm the drummer of the band. I keep these guys in time. Literally.
Yeah, cool. Let's dive into some questions. As kids, what were you listening to?
I could start this off. So just driving in the car, it was a real mix for me. My mum was a massive fan of Alexander O'Neill, and I'd imagine a lot of late 80s R&B. My dad was a massive fan of Bruce Springsteen, Guns N' Roses, Van Halen. So there's a real mixture of stuff for me that I listened to. But the first CD that I ever bought was actually the first Spice Girls album. So, there is that.
I'm laughing because I'm the exact same. I was like, as a kid, I was non-fussed about music generally. It was just whatever CDs my parents had, which turned into a lot of those Now albums. And then one day my friend let me hear The Kids Aren't All Right by The Offspring. And that just blew my mind. And I had to get that album, and then I had to find more like this. And then it sort of developed into a sort of a pop punk thing going through university. It was all pop punk. Everything was Bowling for Soup, Simple Plan, stuff like that. I used to describe it as Sum 41, but not Sum 41 because I never really got into them. But yeah, pop punk for me.
Cool. So, who actually got you into listening to music? Was it obviously you mentioned your parents, but was it sort of like was it a sibling or group of friends, or was it a journey through like self-discovery?
For me, it was a lot of. After that, I don't even remember who it was, so I apologize if you know who you are. After that song, hearing The Offspring and that, it was almost like self-discovery. It was watching like Kerrang and Scuzz and things like that, and finding new stuff, and then going and listening to the whole albums. It was going and watching bands that I knew, but like going for the support acts as well, and getting into bands like Never Heard of It, Army of Freshmen, which are small bands that never really managed to go mainstream, unfortunately, but I was obsessed with them. I loved listening to them, and I was just always trying to find new stuff myself, more or less.
Yeah, I was influenced heavily by the people I went to school with. School wasn't a very pleasant time for me, but what was definitely worth going to school for was the, and there's no pun, there's not a busted joke in there. There is definitely the musical influences that I was exposed to. I had a circle of friends that listened to all kinds of things. The first show I ever actually went to was seeing Powerman 5000 supporting Pantera back in 1999. And that was a real eye-opener for me because obviously, like I say, having listened to the Spice Girls and, listening to a lot of pop music growing up, when I started to hear heavier music, it really changed my life. When Hybrid Theory, for instance, by Linkin Park came out, that just changed the game for me because I couldn't work out where those noises were coming from and how they were created. And for me, that got me, involved in sound engineering and, on a very basic level.
Cool. So, out of all the bands that you've listened to over the years, who was your sort of like main influence to say, I want to become that, I want to do that as a living?
You go.
This is a really difficult one for me. Wow. I wouldn't have thought it but purely from a persona point of view, I very much admire Corey Taylor. Purely because he seems to be quite a personable person. You know, he's very much he'll give his opinion, and you know he's always known for giving his opinion, but at the same time seems to be quite a respectable person, but also a really fantastic showman. I mentioned Linkin Park. Chester Bennington for me was an incredible vocalist and seemed to be an awesome human being as well. So I think, you know, between those two, probably somewhere down the middle, maybe with the longevity of, as I mentioned before, Springsteen would be wonderful.
I think for me, it's almost the polar opposite because it's not something I ever thought I would do. I've always admired lots of bands that are really tight, though. Like I mentioned Bowling for Soup earlier, I've seen them loads of times, but one thing that's really good about them is they just know exactly when to start and stop. If they start chatting in the middle of a song and things like that, they're just on it so quickly. So I like that, but no, I've just kind of stumbled into this over the last 18 months, something like that, dragged in.
Cool. So, were you in any bands before time stands still?
I'm a no. I was in nothing before this.
It's an interesting setup. So I was in a band before this. Our guitarist as well was also in a band called Tennessee Kate. I was in a band called Nashima. Tennessee Kate, I believe, they toured extensively, did they not? Nashima toured quite a bit around the UK. We played Download Festival and did quite a few tours and met a lot of really awesome bands. And so that's my background.
Cool.
And Gav's been in a couple of bands as well.
Yeah, he's done quite
more
a
of
bit,
like the hardcore, metal scene as well. So it's interesting that he's wound up in a band like this.
Yeah, but Ian and I, our bassist and I, haven't been in any bands before this at all.
Yeah, cool. So, what has the band been up to, especially over the last 12 months?
That's a simple question with a very, very long answer. We'll try and keep it as short as possible. Lots of personal stuff. I mean, everyone's got personal stuff going on. So there's been time taken out, I guess, at the start of that 12 months just to kind of regroup a little bit.
Yeah.
There was already material written. And in the last
6 months.
it's only really the last 6 months that we've knuckled down.
Yeah. We set out a plan and just started, right, we need to do this. We need to release these songs. We need to actually get them out there. We'll do them as an EP. We'll do the videos. And we'll start writing new stuff as well. So we've kind of done the full shebang in a way. But yeah, lots of like filming, doing the videos in the last few months. Like I said before we went live, our bassist is also a videographer and he's a workaholic. So we'll go and film a video on the Monday night, and by the Tuesday lunchtime, he's like, "Oh, here's the first draft," and it looks incredible.
He's sat over there.
He's got headphones on though, so he doesn't know we're talking about
Yeah, excuse me. So, you mentioned that you were basically been writing. Is there any sort of like, what singles have you been sort of like planning to put out or have put out?
You want me to cover this?
You can go for this, mate.
And when I say cover this,
Take the reins. Go for
it. So we're hoping to have another cover out.
Do we say what it is?
In June.
We're doing a cover in June.
Yeah, we've got a cover coming out in June. And we've got another couple of singles that are almost ready to come out. We just need to decide when. And we're working on Ghost of Me Too, so the second EP to what we've just released. When we're finished that, we're hoping to do some physical releases of the full album Ghost of Me, which will have 10 tracks on it as well.
Cool.
And somewhere in there, Might be playing some shows. Who knows?
So, could you tell us a little bit about the album that's going to be coming out?
It's so obviously we've got we've released 5 singles, which have culminated into EP Ghost of Me Part 1, which is very much it's a very much an emotional journey of learning to love yourself, despite hardships that could be caused by yourself or by circumstance. Ghost of Me Part 2, the second installment, will be very much the same, but with it will have moved things forward emotionally. Let's put it that way. And the hope is that, you know, piecing those together, those 2 releases, it'll be a nice little journey to go on.
Cool. We've got a couple of questions. Well, one is a question and one's a sort of like really nice message. The first one is from Aussie Ann 2025. She asks, if you had the funds ready, where would you like to have a tour the most?
Probably someplace in Asia, like Japan or South Korea, because the fans there are so energetic, they're so enthusiastic, and they go mad for the bands that they love. And I think that would be so much fun, just doing that. That would be for me. Plus, I just want an excuse to actually be able to get over there as well. So yeah, it's a great question.
It's a really good question. I'd love to play in Brazil, and that's only because you see Brazilian music fans on any band's page are like, come to Brazil.
Yeah.
So who knows what waits over there, but you know, it'd be really cool to experience it. It might just be one person, but you know, it's just one person on all these pages saying come to Brazil. But you know, that would be quite cool.
Cool. Speaking of sort of like a tour, when the album comes out, would you do a full blown tour of the UK or going into Europe if you had the funds?
Guess it does come down to funds, doesn't it? Funds and interest. I mean, because we're all a wee bit older, we'd have to
Speak for yourself.
You're older than me. We'd have to, you know, work around life to make that happen. But yeah, it would be fun, definitely, to do it. See how
Supply
that
and demand. Supply and demand. I mean, if people want to hear the music that we're creating, we would love to play it to those people. We've already set up grand plans to take over our hometown. We're going to be playing a hometown show soon, which is nice. And you know, we'll branch out from there. I mean, it's an easy mistake to make, isn't it? To just go too far too fast and not have the roots there of your support. So having been there previously, it's just nice to kind of take the time and, you know, kind of just get to grips with what we have here first. But I would absolutely love nothing more than to go on tour with these guys, even if it's just a weekend at a time. You know, just see the UK one weekender at a time would be great.
Cool. You mentioned Japan earlier, about going touring Japan. Marcella Killia, she says Japan is incredible, and Aussie Ann 2025 says travel to Japan. So yeah, we got another from Grumpy Sapper, good friend to the channel. There, she says, have you ever considered the Middle East?
Yes. I've seen umpteen videos of mental shows in various places in the Middle East. It's just funny where the internet takes you and the music that you see, isn't it? We're not really exposed in the UK to, much like rock music from the Middle East and even like middle of Africa as well as a continent. We don't really see it, but, it's just amazing to see, people doing amazing things all over the world. So absolutely, yes, wherever.
And Marcella Kalia has said, this is a nice little message there. These two have such great energy. I can feel it.
Not bad for 9 o'clock at night.
Oh, no. Helped by ramen and Diet Coke.
Caffeine.
Yeah. Yeah. So, one. Grumpy Supper says Dubai and Abu Dhabi are overlooked in the Middle East. That's where Grumpy's based at the minute. So yeah.
Yeah, I bet from my naive knowledge, they probably throw really extravagant, massive gigs as well, and that's just not something I've personally never looked at before. I'm gonna guess what I'm googling tonight.
We are googling this tonight. Yes, thank you. Cheers.
Yeah. So, going back to sort of like physical merchandise, such as like CDs and stuff. Is there going to be sort of like putting out like sort of like two EPs or a full album, or are you just planning on just doing the full album first, to put out as a physical CD?
I think it'd be nice to have different options. We were discussing the other day about vinyl. So, I don't think that's outside the realms of possibility. Cassette tapes, possibly. It mainly depends on the interest. Obviously, everything's been digital so far, but for the sake of merchandise, it'd be really nice. I mean, I'm excited for our first T-shirt, but
yeah, you did go on about those T-shirts.
I do. I'm sorry.
But yeah, that's where we're kind of looking at is towards the end of the year, CDs, vinyl. We found a website that can do whatever you want, really. So we're just looking into that at the moment as well. But we'd love to do some physical stuff, even if it's just to buy it ourselves. I know Ian's putting a lot of time into designing the vinyl just for himself.
Yeah.
And that one person that comes to see us.
Yeah. Cool. I was going to ask about the vinyl. Is there any plans for it? So obviously you've been discussing putting your music onto vinyl.
Yeah, it's definitely something we've looked at. Just to have it, you know what I mean? Just to display it someplace and be like, that's us.
Cool. I see Ian's in the chat there, saying that I'm the basis for Time Stand Still. He to mock my fellow bandmates.
Just for context, Ian is literally about 6 feet that way. He set everything up here, and he's just sitting in the corner.
He's working on something else at the moment, for those who don't know, so he can't actually be here on the camera.
Cool. Ozzy Ann has going sort of like backtracking a little bit about touring. She says Australia is so much better, but it still has its problems. Which country doesn't have problems, sort of thing. But though Australia is beautiful, and I've seen some footage of Australia, and it's really, really nice. So, have you ever thought about going down to Australia if you had the funds?
So I hate flying. So if I was going to Japan, it would have to be like Australia would just have to be included in that as well, just for the slightly shorter hop there. That's me personally.
There's been various times in my life, not just music related, but I've considered going across to Australia and to New Zealand. as a big Lord of the Rings fan, New Zealand is definitely a place I'd love to see, but I wouldn't want to go without going to Australia. But I've worked with various Australians that tell me about, Australian culture and just what life's like there. And, it seems to be a lifestyle that would suit me to a T. So the problem is, if I went, I'd probably never want to come back.
Yeah, true.
You're assuming they'd take you.
Well, there is that.
Cool. So going back to the merchandise, is there going to be sort of like individual T-shirts for the singles that you're going to be releasing, or is it just going to be like 2 or 3 for the album?
We haven't gone into detail on T-shirts yet. We're thinking about getting some like band logo ones done for a few gigs and just seeing how they do, whether it's getting them all printed off in advance or do it drop ship style with a QR code. We've talked about options on that yet, but we're not 100% on what exactly we'll do yet. But yeah, definitely, I want one.
The great thing is that between us, we're very much in house with everything we do. The music, the videography, the artwork. So when it comes to designing these things, if we're like, oh, it'd be really cool if we could have this, and you're making suggestions here about what would you do, no doubt this will spark a conversation where we'll sit down and be like, well, we were talking about this the other day, why don't we do that? So we'll probably end up sitting around a computer just designing it there and then.
I never actually thought about T-shirts related to singles, but now I'm imagining a "We'll Be Okay" days like this one.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, sorry. You've sparked something.
Cool. That'll be bear some help. Right. Obviously, we did a bit of about sort of like tours and stuff. So where can people find you over on your socials?
Everywhere. If you were to search at Time Stand Still Band on pretty much anything, you'll get us. It's not to be confused with Time Stand Still by Rush. Also, as we have a song called Rush, it kind of confuses things. But if you put at Time Stands Still Band on most socials and on YouTube, you'll get our videos as well.
Cool. We've got a suggestion from Marcella Clear. She asks, please make soft shirts for women, not crunchy like our usual band shirts.
Yes.
On it. So one of our guitarists has got his own business, and they produce their own T-shirts for that. It's a vegan business, and the T-shirts are this organic made one, and they are really soft. So we'll keep that in mind, definitely.
Brushed cotton all the way.
Cool. Thank you for that, Marcella. This is sort of like a question that sort of like really stumps people. Any advice for people who want to become a musician, whether to be for themselves or to pursue some sort of like career in music?
I'll go first. It's never too late to start. I played drums at school and then stopped for 20 years and then started lessons 2 years ago. So at age 38, 37, 38, I can't remember, 37, to think about that, I started lessons again. And like 2 years later, I'm sitting here talking about a band that I'm in with 5 singles out, more to come, talking about T-shirts, talking about a couple of gigs we've got lined up. It is never too late, I would say. Don't think the chances passed you by.
Music for me is therapy. It's a mixture of therapy and fun. I've years ago, I don't know if you remember, but there was a program you could buy called Dance EJ, and you could import samples that were in the library and make your own dance track. And after that, there were other programs, and it was fun. It was just fun. But for me, it was therapy growing up, and nothing's changed. you know, it's weird sitting in a room as like a 12-year-old kid doing that for fun and obsessing over it. And then getting to the point where you're playing in front of 5,000 people, and that came to an end. And then these guys said, do you fancy coming along to a room and just playing some covers? And I was like, sure. So we did, and then this is the result. My advice would be just have fun with it, and really bare your soul to it as well. If you're going to create something that you think that maybe other people want to hear, put a lot of yourself into it, whether it's a true story or whether it's just how you feel.
Cool. Thank you for that. So, sound advice there. Sound advice. Guys, if you guys in the chat, if you've got any more questions, please ask away, because we're going to be start wrapping things up in a minute there. So, guys, any final words before we go?
This sounds very final. I'm good. I'm good. I'm very happy.
Yeah, I nothing more to add. I think we've covered quite a broad range. You've sparked some great ideas as well. I'm literally going to be going on about single t-shirts for the single people. Wait, what? No, it's t-shirts based on the singles now. So that's next in the agenda.
Cool. So, guys, in the chat, if you haven't checked out Time Stands Still, please do. I have been sort of like listening to this band for a couple of weeks now, and they are absolutely amazing. Go check them out. Literally, go check them out. And all the links are in the description. So please, go check them out. Go check them out.
Can't thank you enough
thank you.
for your help
It's
here,
lovely.
man. Honestly, it's very much appreciated.
Yeah, my pleasure. I totally, and thank you for coming on. It's been a total pleasure for you to actually talk to you guys.
Anytime, man. We're happy to do this again anytime.
Anytime. Next week.
We've got a final question come through from Grumpy Sapper. You just got in time there, Grumpy. If you had the chance of any direction, where would you like to take the band?
Ooh, that is a huge question.
Top of the charts.
I don't know. For me, it's hard. I mean, we've got our roots. I mean, for me, when it comes to writing a song, from my perspective, I very much write with my own words, but I know where the styling comes from. But the problem with that, when it comes to direction, is that there might be a drum sound. I'm a big fan of Architects, like a tech metal band. I love their guitar tones. When it comes to drums, I love another tech band, Monument, Tesseract as well. But I absolutely adore, jangly kind of Americana guitar tones and gravelly voices as well. So when it comes to direction, I'm all over the place. So when it comes to a single direction, it'd be very difficult for me to say. But there's definitely a couple that I would love to point in. And I think, that kind of like American high gain amp, for like hard rock, really inspires a big kind of stadium sound, and I love listening to that personally.
For me, I'd probably get battered for saying this, but probably get a little pop punk album or something like that. It's just a wee dabble in that for me. Yep, he's gonna kill me.
Yeah, thank you for that, Grumpy, and thank you for answering. So, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a total pleasure. Total pleasure. And
we'll bring biscuits next time.
Cool. Got another question from Grumpy. Got another
Awesome.
question. Grumpy asks, which record label are you using currently?
Interesting question. So we are not signed to an outside label. Everything that we do is in house. In fact, I personally I've recorded for other bands as well. So my company Housefire seems to be. We've discussed, that being our label at the moment. If it even classes as one, but we are fully independent. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so guys, like I said, go check out Time Stand Still, and please do. These guys are absolutely amazing. So, and again, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a total pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure's all ours. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So, until next time, guys, we'll catch you all later.